Welcome to Celebrate Creating with Catherine. Today we are going to be making a Tzitzit holder. It is a mini four-cornered garment that you can put on your belt and hanging the Tzitzit in each corner. So, what we are going to need is a piece of fabric, whatever color you want. And I love this Omnigrid ruler because you can really line your fabric up just perfect and cut it nice, straight, perfecto. I have a rotary cutter and a board for this, a mat. So anyway, this is awesome to use if you want to do it really, really well, but it really won't matter on this. But it's always nice to have a good tool. All right, we're going to have, depending if your fabric is light or dark, a darker pen or a lighter pen, we're going to mark where the seams go because we're going to do this by hand. For those of you who do not have a sewing machine, I will show you how to do it. Then we are going to simply add on each corner these tiny little rings that I got at the craft store. And we also need some iron-on Velcro. Cool. I love this iron-on stuff. I used to sew it all. Pain in the butt. All right. And that's pretty much the size of it. Oh, obviously sharp scissors and some needles. So needles and thread to sew it together, and also an embroidery needle because I'm going to use some embroidery thread when I hook the little ringlets on the bottom, just so it's really sturdy. Alrighty, I'll see you in a sec. Alright, so I've cut a piece of fabric here, and let's see about how long this is. It is about 16 by 3.5, and you know, anything along those lines. We're wanting to make something, you know, that's going to fit over our belt. Let me show you the inside of this. And Velcro closed, and enough room to add our little rings on the bottom. So I've got my fabric pressed. I'm going to fold it over in half. Trying to figure out the best way for you to see this. And now what I want to do is, so I can keep a nice straight line, I want to mark where I'm going to be sewing. And I love this Omnigrid because you can really line up your lines, if you will. Really nice. And I'm gonna just give it, let's see, how wide do I want it? Just gonna line this up. And actually I need to line this bottom a little bit better. When you're doing a seam, give yourself a little bit of room in case your fabric unravels a lot. This doesn't particularly, but I'm still gonna give myself a little room here. So I've got my ruler lined. I'm going to take a light pencil and mark where I will be sewing so I can actually see. Is that dark enough? Yes, it is. And let's go on the other side. Alright, so you can see where I marked it. That's where I will be sewing. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and just pin a couple of pins so it doesn't get all tweaked while we go here. Oops. Now I've got my needle and thread ready to roll. This is not the exact color. I usually If I sew, I want to make sure I have really the exact color. But in this case, this is just a little project. I'm not going to go out and buy an entire spool of thread for this. It's close enough. Going to start at the folded end. And I'm going to do what in embroidery would be called a running stitch. You're just going to, and these are going to be little. So I hope you can see. Just going to go just towards the edge. Go down. And back up. Really tiny. Down. And back up. Much easier to see with an embroidery hoop. Just down and back up. Well, let's see if I spread this. Can you sort of get an idea what we're doing here? See what the needle's doing here. See those little stitches? Do it again. Little stitches down, up, down, up. You can do it pretty darn fast, by the way, this way. Doesn't have to be perfect. Do your best. Hoping you can see that. And I'm going to keep going here. Down and up, down and up. And really just fill my needle with as many stitches as I can. And you can do this pretty darn quick. I hope you guys can see this. This is hard for me to tell. Doing my best shot here. Alright, so you can see I'm sort of weaving it in and out. Doing my best to stay on the line to have, you know, the straightest seam I can possibly have. By the way, if you have a piece of clothing that is coming, you know, undone, a side seam or something like this, great stitch to quickly mend clothing with. Alright, let's just finish off here. Now I have my thread doubled just to make it sturdier. That's kind of the way I am. It's like, just makes sense to me. Oops, I got a cut on the needle. Always flattening out your fabric, you don't want puckers. Alright, you know, it's not perfect, but, you know, we're just doing this by hand. Okay, I'm going to finish that up and we'll go on to the next step. Alright, we've done our sewing on both of the seams. Nothing perfect, but it works. And we have a fold here, the open end here. Now we're going to turn this inside out. We're simply going to just be pulling up the middle right there. And reaching in, grabbing a little fabric, pulling it up. Okay, Now, one thing I normally do when I want to get my little ends even, you see right there, I normally have a pen that doesn't have the little ink sticking out, but I have non-sharp scissors. I'm just gonna go up into the corner and pull that out a little bit to make it even. There we go. Okay, next step, we are going to iron this. So we want to press this really nice, and then what we want to do is fold this end under maybe an inch or so and press it evenly so that the ends match, so it's all square. Alrighty, and then we will come back. We are nicely pressed. You know, when you're sewing, if you want whatever you're making to look good, you really got to be pressing your fabric as you go. It really makes a big difference. This is the end that is tucked in. It's all done nice. Now, we're going to place our iron-on Velcro, and first you're going to cut the width of your little Tzitzit holder here. I'm just going to go just a little less. Just a little less. Cheap scissors for this, or you will ruin your sewing scissors. Straighten that out just a touch. And the other side. Out there. And I just flipped the, oh, there it is. How did I do that? Okay, that's pretty even. Now, here's what we're doing. We are making sure we have room to go over a belt. So if you have a thick belt, you're gonna want to put your Velcro a little bit lower, you know, to give you more room. And this is gonna go on the inside, so, and then we're just gonna be sewing the rings at the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and put mine, oh, I don't know, maybe an inch off the bottom or so. So it's stick. I love that this has a sticky. If I can get it off, you know, that'd be great. But I love that you can place it. You don't have to pin it. You don't have to sew by hand, which is what I used to do. There we go. She did it. Whew. Let's get it about the same centered. And then on the bottom, the same distance. Now we are going to sew this bottom, but we will do that in a minute. I figured the iron's on and it's hot. Let's just use the iron all at once. Come on, girl. You can do it. There it is. It's there. That little plastic edge. I see it. Almost. There we go. So just about the same distance. Right about there. Looks about right. Yep. Okay. Press that down. I have one little uneven spot here. I'm going to cut it before it's ironed. There we go. All right. Now, I'm going to turn it face down, and I'm going to put a very hot iron with high steam setting, and I'm going to set it on there for about 90 seconds. That's what it says, and then we'll let it cool. And we'll do our next step. I'm going to show you how I do this invisible end stitch. I hope you're going to be able to see this. Honestly, I don't know. So let me show you what I'm going to be doing on a piece of white paper. This lovely drawing. Doesn't that look just like it? What I'm doing is I'm going to go under the fold with my knot. I'm going to pull up on the crease there. Whoops, I'm not even there. There. Pull up on the crease. Go straight across and down the other side. And I come up at an angle on the underneath. So let's see if we can do this, or if I didn't just complicate you beyond belief. We're gonna come, yeah, let's just do it. So I should probably be using another color thread. Except that I'm really making this as we speak. All right, right here. I'm gonna bring my knot right in here. Actually, I'll just go in like this. And so no one will see that knot. I'm gonna come right up at the fold. See that? Right there. Knot tucked in. I'm going to go directly straight back to the crease of the back side. Now when I come back, now I'm going to go slightly diagonal down and come back up right next to the original. I don't know if you can see it. The dogs are going crazy. So what we have, all the stitches are going to be going straight. And we're going to be going to the side underneath so nobody can see. Let's see if we'll do it. Try it one more time. Okay, I'm going to go straight back. And now I'm going to go slightly to the side diagonal there and come back up into the front. And you're going to see, you know, if I had, of course, the exact color thread, you wouldn't probably really see this at all. But you're going to see that it's kind of a hidden little stitch in there. I'll do it again. If this isn't coming as clear as you want, let me know if anybody wants me to do this over. You see how I'm going to the side there? I'm going straight back, and then at an angle to come up to the next, to start the next stitch. So on paper it would be all the stitches are going straight like this. But when I stick my needle in, go down, I'm going to come back up at an angle, this direction, to pick up and start my next stitch. But all you're going to see is these teeny little spots that are straight. The angle is done underneath. So, hoping that I'm not just too complicated. So I'm going to go straight back. Again, I am sticking my needle not through the fabric, but to the other side, but just underneath where it folds. You see where it folds right there? And coming up in front to the side. And all you end up with is these little teeny little stitches. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. They're there. Let's try one more time. Going straight back into the crease, or the fold actually. It's you're going on top of the fold. It's hard for me to do. I don't have enough light, and whoopsie. Then I'm coming up just to the side of the last stitch, right in the front. Right. Whoopsie. I can do this. If I put too much light on in here, you won't be able to see anything. So I'm going to go try this again. Straight down at the fold. Up at the fold in the front. So that the stitch is straight. Alright. So I don't know if that helped, but I hope it did. I'm going to finish this, and then we will put on our little rings. I have finished my stitching. I want you to look and see how it's just at the edge there. Now, I don't want this knot showing. So I've tied a knot just a little bit off the edge there. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick my needle into the corner. Really, I'm going to do it. It's a gloomy day today and I'm having trouble seeing. And just put it through a little bit and pull that knot in there so it's hidden. And cut off the thread. And voila, nobody sees anything. It is mysteriously hidden. Alright, I like little secret hiding things. Now, we're going to put on our little rings. So, I'm going to get some matching embroidery floss here. I'm going to double this. That way we only have to make one stitch per ring. Let's see how much I want. I'm going to show you how I hide my little threads on that too. So, make sure your needle's big enough. How many times have I attempted, I'm licking this as I speak, have I attempted to thread a needle that is too small? Many times. Can she do it? Oh, not quite. Try again. Come on. Come on, girl. Oh, okay. Snip the end if you're having trouble. Always lick the end. It's just the way it is. Alright, we did it. I'm going to do a double. Alright. And I'm going to tie a knot, but I'm going to leave some end there. And I'll show you why, because I'm going to tuck it away. You don't have to do any of this. I just kind of like to have my insides look good of a project as much as possible. So you can see where the knot is up a little higher. Okay, can she remember what she did last night? I don't know. We want the rings to hang about so. So, I'm going to put towards the bottom there, right at the crease, or right at the fold, however you want to put that. Stick my needle in, and make sure I'm not in the back. Oh, I'm going through the back. I don't happen to want to go through the back. Just want to get in the top layer. Okay. Just in the top layer. And we don't need it quite so high. Just, oh, not even 1/4 of an inch. Actually, I'm doing it the wrong way. Excusez-moi. I want to go down. Sorry. Because we're going to tuck away. There we go. We're going to be tucking away the end there that you see. Okay, so there's our knot. All I'm going to do, I've got a double strand. Going to hook up one of these. Got them at the craft store. These little, what do you want to call these, rings? Now I'm going to put my thread right underneath the knot and just come up right to the side of it. You don't have to be this crazy, but it's something I want to do. I'll show you why. Okay? So we see it here. Whoops, I'm sorry, I'm holding it the wrong spot. We see nothing there. That's what I want. Something. Nothing. Now I'm going to cut my thread. I'm going to tie these and these together in a knot. I'm sorry, they actually already have a knot on the left. Forgot it. I'm only going to tie this one side. There we go. Hello. I'll remember. All right, so now they're both knotted. And here's my secret. I'm going to... You don't have to do this, but this is just the way I am. I don't want to see all this stuff. And yes, you can cut it really small. Right next to the knot, I'm going to put in my needle. And just doesn't matter where I poke it out, nothing's going to see. But where that is, and it's a little bit tricky, I'll take one of the threads. I'm going to lick it. And hopefully be able to put it right through the needle there. Okay, which I just did. See that? Pulled it through. And I'm just going to pull that. And I'm going to cut the tip of it off. And there's a hidden thread right there. I'm going to do it again. Pull my needle through right next to the knot. Only on this inside. I don't want anything showing on that back, which is actually the front, you know, which is what would be seen. Okay, now I'm catching something here. You can do this, Kath. You've been doing it. There's got some fabric there. There we go. All right. Nothing on the back. Catching it. Taking another strand, loose strand. Let's go with this one. See if you can see my needle. There it is. Threading it. We're hoping. Okay. I'm optimistic. I know this probably sounds like a big pain. Again, you don't have to do it. Just showing you what I do. Because I just don't want us to look at this stuff. I don't really want messy insides. Okay, well she's struggling a little bit today. Even so, I'm still determined. What can I tell you about me? This is the way I do stuff. Have it in my mind, I want it a certain way, I'm just gonna keep trying until I get it. Alright, got the fibers in. There. We're gonna pull it through again. There's a little piece of thread. Let's get rid of these guys out of the way. See that? Snip it off. And I'm going to do it with the last two. And then all you're going to see when we're done is this little knot on the inside and nothing on the outside. I love it. I just love it. So I will finish this and return. And here's our little finished product. All you get is one little nice stitch. Your inside is clean. You don't have all these threads and knots. And that's just the way I roll, people. I like it like that. We put it together. And we put our Tzitzit in each of the rings.